The Galactic Siege. The Krillian warship Devastator hung in space like a massive obsidian blade, its 20-kilometer length casting a shadow across Earth's moon. Supreme Commander Vrex stood on the bridge, 8 violet eyes reflecting the holographic display of humanity's homeworld. After conquering 37 civilizations across 3 galactic arms, the Krillians had finally reached their most stubborn opponent. Primitive but persistent, Vrex commented, mandibles clicking with irritation. 3 years we spent subduing their outlying colonies while they retreated and regrouped. Now they have nowhere left to run. The Krillian Empire had emerged from deep space a decade ago, bringing technologies that defied human understanding. Their quantum-phase weaponry could penetrate any known shielding. Their living metal hulls regenerated damage within minutes. Their propulsion systems bent space-time itself, allowing them to appear virtually anywhere without warning. One by one, the advanced civilizations of the Orion Arm had fallen, their resistance crushed beneath overwhelming force. Most surrendered after a single demonstration of Krillian power. Those who resisted were obliterated, their planets strip-mined for resources to fuel the Empire's expansion. Only humanity had managed to slow the Krillian advance, not through superior firepower, but through adaptive tactics and sheer stubborn determination. While other species fought conventional battles and lost, humans engaged in guerrilla warfare, sacrificing territory for time, trading space for survival. They've consolidated all remaining forces around their homeworld, reported Sub-Commander Razik, Vrex's second-in-command. Our scouts detect approximately 3,000 defense platforms and 800 capital ships. They've also erected a planetary shield network, primitive technology, but layered in an unusual configuration. Has the ultimatum been delivered? Vrex asked. Yes, Supreme Commander. We offered standard terms: immediate surrender, technological integration, and population redistribution to labor centers. They responded with, Razik paused, mandibles twitching with what might have been amusement, a single human gesture and a brief message. Our translators believe it represents defiance. Vrex's exoskeleton shimmered with annoyance. Deploy the fleet. Standard conquest formation. I want their orbital defenses neutralized within 2 cycles. Within minutes, 5,000 Krillian warships emerged from fold space, arranging themselves in an impenetrable sphere around Earth. The Devastator's weapon systems hummed to life, charging with enough energy to crack continents. In the hardened command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Fleet Admiral Helena Reyes watched the holographic display with grim determination. At 57, she had spent the last decade of her career fighting a desperate holding action against an enemy that outmatched humanity in every conventional metric. They've surrounded us completely, reported Captain Jackson, her tactical officer. Sensor analysis confirms over 5,000 ships, including what appears to be their flagship, that massive blade-shaped vessel over the Pacific. Reyes nodded. And Project Prometheus. The system is online but untested against actual Krillian weapons. Admiral, Dr. Chen reports that simulations show a 68% probability of success. Those are better odds than we've had in years, Reyes said. She activated the secure communication channel. Dr. Chen, this is Admiral Reyes. What's your status? The view screen shifted to show a compact laboratory where Dr. Maya Chen stood surrounded by complex equipment and holographic equations. At 35, Chen had become Earth's most brilliant physicist, dedicating her career to understanding and countering Krillian technology. We're ready, Admiral, Chen replied, her expression serious but confident. The quantum entanglement network is fully deployed. All 300 relay stations are synchronized and operational. I should warn you, this technology is still experimental. We're basing most of this on theoretical applications of 11-dimensional mathematics and partial reverse engineering of salvaged Krillian tech. We're out of time for further testing, Doctor. The Krillians have deployed their entire fleet. Chen nodded. Then we'll have to test it in combat. Remember, Admiral, Prometheus isn't a conventional weapon system. It won't destroy their ships directly. It's designed to. I know what it's designed to do, Doctor. Let's hope it works. Stand by for my command. Reyes turned to her staff. All Earth Defense Force vessels. Assume defensive positions. Planetary shield generators to maximum output. Prepare all conventional weapon systems but hold fire until my command. Looking at the overwhelming alien force surrounding her planet, Reyes felt the weight of 8 billion lives resting on her shoulders. Humanity had always been outgunned in this war, but they had never been outmatched in ingenuity or determination. They expect us to fight conventionally and lose, she said quietly. Let's show them how humans really fight. The first Krillian attack came without warning. One moment, Earth's orbital defense grid stood vigilant. The next, 300 defense platforms simultaneously erupted in silent explosions as quantum-phased energy beams bypassed their shields entirely. On the Devastator, Vrex observed with cold satisfaction. First strike successful. Proceed with the next wave. Another volley of energy beams lanced toward Earth, targeting the largest human warships. To Vrex's surprise, the humans didn't attempt evasive maneuvers. Instead, the Earth vessels held their positions, their shields flaring, but holding against weapons that should have annihilated them instantly. Impossible, Razik hissed. Their shields cannot withstand our quantum weaponry. Analysis, Vrex demanded. The science officer manipulated his console rapidly. Unclear, Supreme Commander. Sensors indicate anomalous energy patterns surrounding their vessels. The quantum-phased beams appear to be redirecting. Vrex's exoskeleton darkened with anger. Redirecting. To where? His answer came moments later as dozens of Krillian warships suddenly reported weapon system failures. Somehow, the energy from their own attacks was being channeled back through the quantum links, overloading their emitters. Fascinating, Vrex said, fury mixing with reluctant admiration. These mammals understand quantum entanglement better than we anticipated. Reconfigure all weapons to standard particle beams. Their primitive shielding cannot withstand concentrated fire. The Krillian fleet adjusted tactics, switching to conventional energy weapons that hammered against Earth's defensive shields with devastating force. While less sophisticated than quantum weapons, the sheer volume of fire began to overwhelm the human defenses. In her command bunker, Admiral Reyes watched with grim satisfaction as the first phase of humanity's defense unfolded. Prometheus is working, she announced. Their quantum weapons are being redirected through our entanglement network, but they're adapting quickly, switching to conventional weapons. Dr. Chen's voice came through the comm. That was expected, Admiral. Activating Phase 2. Across Earth's surface and throughout near orbit, 300 precisely positioned relay stations powered up simultaneously. Unlike conventional defense systems, these stations didn't generate shields or fire weapons. Instead, they created a complex, overlapping pattern of gravitational distortions, essentially a massive gravitational lens encompassing the entire planet. The effects were immediate and dramatic. Krillian energy beams that should have struck human ships instead curved around them, missing their targets entirely or, in some cases, striking other Krillian vessels. What is happening? Vrex demanded as reports of friendly fire incidents flooded the Devastator's command network. They've deployed some kind of gravitational distortion field, the science officer reported. It's bending the trajectory of our energy weapons. Our targeting systems cannot compensate fast enough. Switch to kinetic projectiles, Vrex ordered. Launch asteroid bombardment. From the holds of the largest Krillian ships, massive asteroid fragments, each the size of a small mountain, were deployed, accelerated toward Earth with enough velocity to cause extinction-level impacts. They're launching kinetic weapons, Captain Jackson reported. Multiple asteroid-class projectiles on collision course with major population centers. Admiral Reyes nodded grimly. As expected. Dr. Chen, activate Phase 3. Initiating now, Chen replied. All ships prepare for temporal displacement surge. This was the most experimental aspect of Project Prometheus, technology that even Chen wasn't entirely certain would work. Based on equations derived from studying the Krillion's own fold space drives, it represented humanity's greatest technological leap in history. As the asteroids plummeted toward Earth, the gravitational lens reconfigured, creating localized pockets of distorted spacetime around each incoming projectile. Time itself seemed to stutter and flow erratically within these fields. To the astonishment of the Krillian observers, their kinetic weapons began to slow, then stop, then reverse direction, caught in temporal eddies that defied the laws of conventional physics. "Impossible," Vrex whispered. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something approaching fear. No species has ever developed temporal manipulation technology without destroying themselves in the process. "Supreme Commander," Razik reported urgently, "the humans are launching their own attack." From behind Earth's moon emerged a fleet of smaller vessels, each barely 100 meters long, dwarfed by the massive Krillian warships. But these ships moved with impossible speed and precision, darting between the disorganized Krillian formations. "Targeting analysis identifies them as unmanned drones," the tactical officer reported. "They're too small to carry significant weaponry." Vrex's instincts screamed danger. Destroy them immediately. But the human drones were already among the Krillian fleet, attaching themselves to the hulls of the largest warships. They weren't carrying conventional weapons at all. They were delivery systems for a new kind of attack. As each drone made contact with a Krillian ship, it deployed a payload of what appeared to be liquid metal. This substance rapidly spread across the living metal hulls, interfacing with the organic components at a molecular level. Within minutes, the affected Krillian vessels began to lose power, their regenerative capabilities neutralized by the human countermeasure. On the Devastator's bridge, alarms blared as sensors detected drones approaching the flagship itself. "Evasive action," Vrex commanded. "Deploy all point defense systems." But it was already too late. The first of the human drones had attached to the Devastator's hull, beginning the process of technological infection that would soon render the mighty warship powerless. As the battle raged across Earth's orbit, one thing became increasingly clear. For the first time in their relentless expansion, the Krillian Empire had encountered a species that could match their technological prowess with innovation and adaptability. The supposedly primitive humans had not only survived the initial assault, but were now turning the tide of battle. The Galactic siege had begun, but it would not end as the Krillians expected. Humanity's CUMTR strike. Supreme Commander Vrex watched in disbelief as his mighty armada fell into disarray. 1/5 of his fleet was already compromised by the humans' molecular countermeasure, including the Devastator itself. Emergency bulkheads had sealed off the affected sections, but the flagship's weapons and propulsion systems were operating at reduced capacity. "How?" he demanded, rage and confusion mooring in his voice. "How did these mammals develop technology capable of countering ours?" The science officer's exoskeleton had paled to a sickly gray. "Analysis suggests they've been studying our technology from captured vessels. The molecular agent they've deployed appears to be a synthetic virus, designed specifically to target the neural pathways of our living metal alloys. Can we counteract it? Not without completely rebuilding the affected sections. The contamination is spreading through the organic components of our hulls." Vrex made a decision. "Order all compromised vessels to withdraw to the secondary perimeter. Unaffected ships will close formation and prepare for direct assault on their orbital defenses. We still outnumber them significantly." As the damaged Krillian vessels retreated, the remaining fleet consolidated into a tighter formation. 4,000 warships, each still vastly superior to human vessels in conventional terms, prepared to overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer firepower. "The humans have revealed their technological surprises," Vrex told his officers. "Now we will show them why the Krillian Empire has never been defeated in conventional warfare." In Earth's command bunker, Admiral Rice watched the Krillian fleet regroup with cautious optimism. "Phase 1, 2 and 3 of Prometheus exceeded expectations, she reported to the United Earth Defense Council. The enemy has lost approximately 1,000 ships to our countermeasures, and their flagship appears to be compromised. But they still have 4,000 warships, noted the Chinese representative grimly, each capable of devastating our planet. Reyes nodded. They're adapting their tactics, moving to a tighter formation to maximize combined firepower. They believe we've shown all our cards. A thin smile crossed her face. They're wrong. She opened a channel to Dr. Chen's laboratory. Doctor, are you ready for Phase 4? Chen appeared on screen, her team working feverishly behind her. Almost. Admiral. The synchronized resonance field generators are powered up, but we're still calibrating the frequency harmonics. We need another 10 minutes. You have 5, Reyes replied. The Krillians are preparing another assault. Turning to her tactical officer, Reyes gave the order that would commence humanity's true counterattack. Captain Jackson, deploy the Ghost Fleet. Throughout Earth orbit, what had appeared to be disabled defense platforms suddenly reactivated. These weren't conventional weapons platforms at all, but carefully disguised vessels of an entirely new design. 1,000 ships, each powered by reverse-engineered Krillian technology, moved into position around the enemy fleet. Ghost Fleet deployed, Admiral. Jackson confirmed. All vessels reporting ready for dimensional shift on your command. Reyes took a deep breath. This was the moment that would determine Earth's fate. Commence Operation Phantom Blade. On the Devastator, alarms blared as sensors detected energy spikes from the supposedly destroyed human defense platforms. New contact signatures all around our formation, the tactical officer reported urgently. 1,000 vessels. Configuration unknown. They're generating some kind of energy field. Before Vrex could respond, space itself seemed to fold around his fleet. The stars blurred and distorted as reality shimmered like heat waves over desert sand. What is happening? He demanded. The science officer's voice trembled. They've created a pocket dimension, a bubble of altered space-time surrounding our fleet. We're being isolated from normal space. On the tactical display, Vrex watched as the battlefield transformed. His tight formation, designed to maximize firepower, was now spread across what appeared to be a much larger volume of space. Ships that had been within weapons range of each other now found themselves separated by thousands of kilometers. They've expanded space within the dimensional bubble, the science officer explained. Our formation has been disrupted without our ships moving at all. Vrex's tactical genius quickly grasped the implications. They're isolating our vessels to engage them individually. Regroup. All ships, emergency fold space jumps to these coordinates. But when the Krillian vessels attempted to use their fold space drives, the results were catastrophic. The altered dimensional properties within the bubble caused their drives to malfunction, creating localized implosions that damaged the ships attempting to jump. Fold space technology is inoperable within this dimensional construct, the science officer reported. We're trapped, Supreme Commander. From her command center, Admiral Reyes watched the Krillian fleet's disarray with grim satisfaction. Phase 4 successful. The dimensional bubble is stable, and their fleet is dispersed. Dr. Chen nodded on the view screen. The resonance field generators are fully operational, Admiral. Ready on your command. All Earth Defense Force vessels. Commence synchronized attack, Reyes ordered. Target isolated enemy ships. Ghost Fleet, begin resonance pulse sequence. The human counterattack began in earnest. Conventional warships targeted isolated Krillian vessels, overwhelming their defenses through concentrated fire. Meanwhile, the Ghost Fleet ships activated their primary weapons, not energy beams or kinetic projectiles, but resonance pulse emitters designed to exploit a fundamental weakness in Krillian technology. Through years of studying salvaged Krillian equipment, Dr. Chen had discovered that their living metal technology relied on a specific quantum-level resonance frequency to maintain structural integrity. By generating counter-frequencies that created destructive interference patterns, the Ghost Fleet could essentially unravel Krillian ships at the molecular level. The first resonance pulses struck a group of isolated Krillian cruisers. The living metal hulls began to vibrate, then crack, then disintegrate entirely as their molecular bonds were systematically broken. Ships that had withstood direct antimatter strikes in previous battles were now coming apart like sandcastles in the tide. On the Devastator, Vrex watched with mounting horror as his invincible armada was systematically dismantled. Ships that represented the pinnacle of Krillian technology, vessels that had conquered dozens of advanced civilizations, were being destroyed by an enemy that, by all logical assessment, should have been crushed within hours. "How many ships remain functional?" he asked, his voice oddly calm. "Less than 1,000. Supreme Commander," Razik replied. "The human resonance weapons are spreading to additional sectors. At current rates, our entire fleet will be neutralized within one cycle." For the first time in the long history of the Krillian Empire, a Supreme Commander faced not just defeat, but annihilation. Vrex's exoskeleton darkened to nearly black as he contemplated options that no Krillian commander had ever been forced to consider. "Open a communication channel to the human leadership," he finally ordered. Razik's mandibles clicked in shock. "Supreme Commander, the Imperial Directive forbids." The Imperial Directive did not anticipate this scenario. Vrex interrupted. "Open the channel." In the Earth command bunker, Captain Jackson looked up from his console in surprise. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission request from the Krillian flagship." A murmur ran through the command center. In all the years of conflict, the Krillians had never attempted communication beyond delivering ultimatums. "Accept the transmission," Reyes ordered, straightening her uniform. The main view screen shifted to show the bridge of the Devastator. Supreme Commander Vrex stood there, his imposing form dominating the frame. To human eyes, the alien commander resembled a cross between an insect and a reptile, with an iridescent exoskeleton and multiple compound eyes that studied Reyes with alien intensity. "I am Supreme Commander Vrex of the Krillian Empire," the alien stated, his words translated by computer systems on both sides. "I request a cessation of hostilities to discuss terms." Reyes maintained a neutral expression, though her heart raced. "This is Admiral Helena Reyes of the Earth Defense Force. Your request is acknowledged. What terms do you propose?" "The withdrawal of all Krillian forces from Earth space in exchange for safe passage for our remaining vessels. A retreat. The invincible Krillian Empire was asking to retreat." "Before I consider your proposal, I require an explanation," Reyes replied. "Why did the Krillian Empire attack Earth and our colonies? What do you want from humanity?" Vrex was silent for a moment, his alien features unreadable to human eyes. "The Krillian Empire expands. It is what we do. It is what we have always done. Resources, territory, technological assimilation. These are the imperatives that drive our civilization. And now we have encountered something unexpected. A species that should have been technologically inferior, but has demonstrated adaptation and innovation beyond any we have encountered. The cost of conquering Earth would exceed any potential benefit." Reyes leaned forward. "I will agree to a cessation of hostilities on these conditions. The Krillian Empire will recognize Earth and all human colonies as sovereign territory, never to be attacked again. You will release all prisoners from previously conquered human outposts, and you will share technical specifications for interstellar communication technology so we can verify your compliance. These terms are acceptable," Vrex replied after brief consideration. "With one addition. The Krillian Empire proposes a technological exchange. There is much our civilizations could learn from each other." The statement was so unexpected that Reyes momentarily lost her composure. "You're proposing an alliance. After everything that's happened." "Not an alliance. An exchange. You have demonstrated capabilities that interest us. We have technologies you have not yet developed. Both our species could benefit. Reyes glanced at her staff, seeing their reactions range from shock to cautious interest. I will present your proposal to Earth's leadership. In the meantime, order your fleet to withdraw to the orbit of Mars. Any vessel that approaches Earth will be destroyed. Agreed. The withdrawal will commence immediately. As the transmission ended, the command center erupted in cheers and disbelieving laughter. For the first time in a decade, humanity had not just survived, they had prevailed against the most powerful known force in the galaxy. 3 months later, Admiral Rice and Dr. Chen stood in a newly constructed facility on neutral ground, a space station orbiting between Earth and Mars. Across from them, Supreme Commander Vrex led a delegation of Krillian scientists and military advisors. The first official diplomatic meeting between our species, Rice noted. Not something I would have predicted a year ago. Vrex's exoskeleton shifted through colors in what humans were learning to recognize as thoughtful contemplation. The Krillian Empire has existed for 12,000 of your years. In all that time, we have encountered hundreds of species, conquered dozens of civilizations. Never before have we been forced to reassess our methods. What changed? Chen asked. You did, Vrex replied simply. Most species we encountered fought conventionally and lost, or surrendered immediately. Some had superior technology in specific areas, but lacked the will to use it effectively. Humans combined inferior technology with superior innovation and absolute determination. He gestured toward the viewport, where Earth was visible as a blue marble against the blackness of space. Your species had every opportunity to surrender, to save lives through capitulation. Instead, you sacrificed, adapted, and developed countermeasures to technologies we believed were insurmountable. You did what no other species has done. You forced the Krillian Empire to evolve. Rice nodded slowly. That's what humans do best. We adapt, we innovate, and we never stop fighting for our survival. A trait the Krillians have come to respect, Vrex acknowledged. Perhaps even to emulate. The technological exchange we begin today represents a new approach for my people, cooperation rather than conquest. As the formal proceedings began, Dr. Chen leaned close to Reyes and whispered, Do you think we can trust them? Reyes watched the Krillian delegation, noting the way they studied human technology with what appeared to be genuine curiosity rather than calculating assessment. Trust? Not entirely, she replied quietly. But they've learned something important about humanity, that we're more dangerous as enemies than valuable as subjects. And we've learned something about survival in a universe filled with advanced civilizations. What's that? Reyes smiled. That no matter how overwhelming the odds, how advanced the enemy, or how hopeless the situation seems, humanity always finds a way to fight back. That's who we are. That's what we do. As human and Krillian representatives exchanged the first technological schematics of what would become a centuries-long relationship, one thing became clear to both species. The galaxy had changed irrevocably. The Krillian Empire had encountered its match, and humanity had earned its place among the stars not through superior firepower, but through the uniquely human combination of ingenuity, adaptability, and unyielding determination. The invincible armada had indeed been stopped, and in the process, both civilizations had been transformed.